Welcome to Too Many Cooks in the Kitchen, where food and health meet real talk and maybe a little friendly fire.
Join our discussions on food, health, lifestyle, and what to do when you burn dinner.
It's not burnt, it's caramelized. It may get messy while we're stirring things up.
From kitchen hacks and hot health takes to wellness tips and who really left the stove on.
It's two voices, one mission, better food, better health.
I'm Janelle, the mother, professional chef turned author and soil scientist focused on sustainable food systems and regenerative agriculture.
And I'm Lauren, the daughter, lifelong food lover, professional private chef, and soon to be the next Julia Child. Today's episode, we're talking about inflammation again. And we're going to talk about some of our favorite anti-inflammatory foods and recipes.
I think this is great. So our first episode actually was on inflammation, and we talked all about like what it was and what things could trigger it. But now we're going to talk about the foods that can actually help. And I am excited about this topic because, well, I've used my hands all my life, from growing up on a farm to being in the kitchen. And now I'm just doing a lot of gardening in my backyard and building a stone wall for a pond. And my hands are kind of aching. So I'm hoping that I could eat some foods that'll help. What do you think?
I think we can come up with a few things that you could have to
All
help
right. Cool.
your
So
hands.
what are the like main foods that would really help? Like if I needed one go-to food that likely I could lean on, what do you think it is?
Well, there's a couple broad categories of foods that are considered the most anti-inflammatory, and then in those categories there's foods that kind of shine above the rest. And two of the biggest categories of foods would be fatty fish, so salmon or mackerel are considered very anti-inflammatory, or berries, strawberries and blueberries they're very high in anthocyanins, which
That
help
makes them
reduce.
that pretty color. Well, the
Yeah,
blueberries are. Strawberries aren't as high in anthocyanins, but
yeah.
your
They still
blackberries
have
are
some,
what
but
they
yeah,
do.
darker fruits have it, like dark cherries and
Yeah.
blackberries,
Yeah.
blueberries. And
I had
then,
blueberries for breakfast this morning.
well, look at you. You're already on your way to less inflammation.
I'm hoping. If not, they were at least
And
tasty.
and a couple of my favorites from the spice category would be turmeric and ginger. I think they
Mm.
combined offer a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
also leafy greens like kale and spinach, and nuts like almonds and walnuts,
Oh,
and many other foods. But
so you
those
could
are,
really, sans the fatty fish, you could throw all of the rest of the stuff into a smoothie.
yeah, true. Or you could combine everything and make a salad
Oh, look at that. Does
and the
that,
different combinations.
so
Like you
you would
could
have
do
a
it.
turmeric ginger dressing on a spinach berry salad with salmon?
Yeah, why not? Or maybe just a ginger dressing over
Mm-hmm.
salmon with a spinach, walnut, and berry salad.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could do a kale salad with some
Mm.
almonds and mackerel and
Holy mackerel.
blueberry vinaigrette or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that would be good. So if I'm looking at breakfast, what are the foods that we would eat that would be terrible for inflammation?
Well, sugar is one of the leading causes of inflammation throughout the body. So anything very sugary, I'd say you want to avoid for breakfast, like sugary cereals or
Donuts? Yeah.
pancakes. Or, I mean, pancakes are admittedly delicious, but first thing in the morning, if I eat that, I'm probably going to be dragging for the rest of the day. So I would say maybe, or
But
add
ricotta
in,
pancakes.
yeah, if you're adding in more whole grains, some nuts, if you top them with strawberries and blueberries or dark
Mm.
cherries, maybe some yogurt and honey as opposed to, just slathering on a bunch of butter and maple syrup, especially because most people aren't eating real maple syrup anyways. It's just a bunch of high fructose corn syrup, but
Oh, yeah, but real maple syrup is actually not too bad
yeah, it's
for you. It has lots
actually
of minerals in it.
mhm. Um and other breakfast foods that,
Like,
um
any pastry, muffins are
yeah.
I think, like, muffin used to be, like everyone thought that was, like, a health food, even though remember
Mm.
in the '80s and '90s, everyone was into the muffin craze, and then the bagel, donuts have always been a thing, which I just can't stand, and, don't get me wrong, folks, donuts are tasty because 'cause they've got all the sugar in your brain says, "Ooh, yeah," but if I eat a donut, I'm uneating that damn donut all day long because I get that, like,
The
burp
burp.
thing that brings up additional stuff, which is never fun, and then I'm reminded why I don't eat donuts.
I made donuts at work last week. My goodness, they were the best donuts ever
Were
made.
they like a cake donut or a raised donut?
They're a raised donut. It was almost like a
Oh.
brioche
Ooh.
raised donut, and then I made homemade jelly,
Mm.
homemade raspberry jelly and a chocolate filling, and they did
Mhm.
half chocolate and half raspberry. They were
Mhm.
so good. They were
Yeah.
so fluffy and pillowy. They're the best donuts I've ever made. But anyways, they weren't for breakfast, they were for dessert.
Which is the best way to, I suppose, have it. So have your good, healthy morning routine of maybe some yogurt and berries, a low sugar or no sugar granola, or maybe just throw some nuts on there because you don't necessarily have to have the grain first thing in the morning, right? Because the berries have the carbohydrate anyway, so you don't need that.
Exactly.
So that's a good way to start the day.
Mhm.
The other one is some oatmeal is okay with some like overnight oats, although I actually do my oats where I just pour boiling water over them, let them sit for like half hour, and I don't have to worry about pre doing them. And it's warm, so it like cooks the oatmeal better, I think, than the overnight oat. And I use water, I don't
Yeah.
use milk. How about you? Do you like oatmeal?
I do like oatmeal. I don't always like I prefer more of like a steel cut oatmeal or,
Mhm.
a more firm rolled oat as opposed to, like, instant or something, you know?
Oh, yeah, I only use the
Yeah.
rolled oats or if I get steel cut. The steel cut, though, you really have to just cook them.
Oh, yeah,
Overnight oats
you there's
is like
no overnighting those.
it's like very chewy if you're lucky to get the past the hard part.
Yeah.
I think that they're also good, though, in, like a baked oatmeal that you
Mhm,
prep the night before so it soaks up, and then you bake
mhm.
it, and then I think that that works.
Yeah. Yeah, oatmeal I think is a really good breakfast. It definitely has longevity for sustaining you throughout the day,
Mhm.
but I do think it does lack some protein that is necessary in the morning, so maybe pairing it with, like, some eggs or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, even if it's just like a couple of, like, hard-boiled or soft-boiled
Mhm.
eggs, which
Yeah,
works really well.
but
Although
that's
I
why
do a baked
yogurt.
oatmeal that has egg in it, kinda makes it a little bit more like a it's almost like a I don't know, like a cross between oatmeal and a muffin, but has
Yeah.
very little sugar in it, has a little bit of maple syrup, there's no actual and then I use apple butter, so that is kind of what I'm using for my sugary part.
Mm,
That'll be my recipe for the blueberry episode, or the one where we have the blueberry battle.
okay, sounds
So what
good.
about lunch? Let's move on to lunch.
Lunch, well, I mean, here with our very anti-inflammatory foods, we've got the perfect setup for a salad, you know?
Mhm.
I think that salads are a great option for lunch. They're really easy to prepare ahead of time and take with you on the go. Not messy, super healthy. You can, they offer a lot of variety, so you can add in your favorite things.
Mhm.
Yeah, soup,
And what are lunch options you think that are, like, absolutely horrible for people that would lead to
fast
inflammation?
food,
Yeah,
anything
there
that
we go.
comes from
Boom.
a drive-through.
Well, even if you, like, went into, like, a convenience store and you got something that was, like, just anything that's overly processed is just terrible for the
Anything that
body.
comes out of a plastic package, really, or like
Yeah.
a paper package.
As you said, I think we were talking about I can't remember which episode it was, but w anything that crinkles, a crinkly package,
Yeah,
except for potato chips, which aren't terrible I mean, they're generally basic potato
depends
chip. We gotta watch the label though, of what they do,
Depends on
but
the
if it's a
potato.
right,
But
exactly, like the taro ones are pretty good, and
yeah,
those
and
they
they're
even have
making
the
some
vegetables
yeah,
ones.
and they're making some now that are fried in beef tallow or avocado oil and stuff like that, so it's not as bad. I mean, it's not good either, but it's not as bad.
But if you need a little bit of a guilty pleasure and you're wanting something that's crunchy, then you're, like, dying for something like that,
Opt for
the
the
tortilla
tallow.
chip actually is pretty good, although corn is actually one of those things that a lot of people don't realize it. If it is not ground so in a tortilla chip in general, it actually has to depend on the way it's processed, I believe,
Yes, it's
in that it
called
can leach
nixtamalization.
magnesium from it can leach magnesium, so it can lead to magnesium deficiency if you're
Yeah.
just eating
Well,
a lot of
the process that corn goes through before it becomes a tortilla or a tortilla chip is called nixtamalization, and
Mhm.
it's breaking down the fibers on the outside to help it become more nutrient available to the body. Otherwise, it would just I mean, I think we've all experienced eating corn, and it's pretty much in the same state as it yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I knew someone who used to call it a tracer food, right? It's like yeah, it's like the tracer food. You wanna know how long it takes for your body to digest something, eat corn, and
yeah,
then watch the end
exactly.
result.
'Cause if you I mean, obviously in a tortilla, it's being ground anyways, but yeah, this
Yeah.
is also helping to make it so your body can absorb the nutrients that are there.
Do corn grits or polenta go through that same thing, or is it just the masa harina flour
I
that
don't
does
know,
that?
let me look it up.
'Cause that would be an interesting thing to note because, like, okay, you can eat tortilla chips and you can eat corn tortillas or tamales and things like that because they are using the masa harina flour, which is just the ground corn that is specifically prepared for that. But I'm curious to find out if, like, corn grits or polenta also goes through the same process or not. Or
Okay,
is it
it
just
says only specific types of grits known as hominy grits go through nixtamalization.
Oh.
And just to be more specific about what nixtamalization is, it's the traditional process involving soaking corn in an alkaline solution like lye or lime to improve digestibility, nutrition, and flavor.
Hmm, okay.
While traditional grits were nixtamalized, most modern conventional grits are simply ground corn and are not nixtamalized.
Oh, interesting. Good to know,
Yeah.
folks. Good to know. Well, we are getting a little bit off topic on our anti-inflammatory things. So, okay, we've got salad. What if someone doesn't want to eat a salad and they wanted to eat like a sandwich? I suppose you could make a sandwich with either spinach on it, like so that could be your green.
Mhm.
Certainly smoked salmon would be lovely on there.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say if you'd prefer a sandwich, definitely trying to include some leafy greens. The bread you choose is definitely really important. I would opt for
Yeah.
something more whole grain, more like a sourdough bread.
Mhm.
If
Yeah,
you're
you
a
don't
meat
have to have
eater,
meat, but for sure
you don't
meat
have
can
to
be one
have
of those that
meat,
contributes to
but a
inflammation, like
lot
processed
yeah.
meats.
Most people are eating meat on well, not most. A lot of people are eating meat on their sandwich. Sorry,
Right.
don't wanna upset the vegetarians or vegans out there, but anyways, the meat should be something that is less processed or at least not processed with a bunch of nitrates because that can lead to downstream things that we don't want, like inflammation and potentially cancer. So, yeah, no nitrates on your meats. You can make your own chicken salad, and then
Oh,
you don't have to
yeah, you
worry
could do
about
tuna salad, chicken
yeah, you could
salad.
do a cranberry walnut chicken salad, and then you're getting more walnuts added for anti-inflammation, and you're also getting cranberries, which
Mhm.
generally do have sugar added to them, but they do have anthocyanins, so
They kinda
there's
balance out.
benefits.
And
Yeah.
you can add a bunch of herbs, fresh herbs, believe it or not, actually contribute a lot to things as well, and vitamins and things like that often we don't even think about if we add a little fresh chopped parsley or maybe some tarragon or something to that or thyme, actually,
Yeah, or
even though it's just a little
rosemary.
bit oh, rosemary would be very
Rosemary
good. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
and
those actually adds
oregano is actually also anti-inflammatory, and it's an antiviral.
oh, yeah, so isn't rosemary, I believe, as well. And then basil, the holy basil, Tulsi, it's also known as,
Mhm,
very good for making, herbs and things like that. It's like a adaptogen, so makes you
mm.
feel good. Even if it maybe doesn't work on inflammation, it makes you maybe not care as much, potentially.
It is good in tea, though, it's very good in tea, and I believe it does have some anti-inflammatory properties.
Oh, it
That's
might, yep. And I know that lemon balm and Tulsi together are which I have both growing in my garden, are good to pick and, put in just steep with some boiling water, and there you go, tea.
the Google box says, "Yes, holy basil is a potent anti-inflammatory herb, often
Well, there you
used
go.
to alleviate chronic inflammation, arthritis, and skin conditions."
Well, I'm glad that I started a whole bunch of seed and I have more than I could ever need. I'll just grow it everywhere, put it in pots, and then dry it and stuff. So cool.
And
That's
make
awesome.
tea and sell it online, and then all our viewers can buy
Oh, there we go. Anybody DM me if you
it.
want some holy basil dried from fresh from my garden. It's organic. It's not certified organic. So moving on to dinner.
Yeah, dinner.
Foods that I mean, obviously, all of these things that we've talked about, but, like, are there any protein sources other than so it's like fish, lots of fish, although I have a tough time with fish. You know why? Because the fish species or large all the fishes generally in the sea are having a tough time right now with climate change and being overfished and all that. So often it's
Yeah,
like fish is really good for you, but it's hard
but
to choose it.
yeah, exactly. It's morally and ethically, it seems kind of wrong. And it's quite expensive, especially for wild caught. But I guess I mean, we've had a lot of fish today. So maybe for dinner we'll skip fish and
Yeah.
we'll have some white meat instead. We can have some chicken or turkey.
Oh, turkey. Actually, I think turkey is pretty good for you. It has lots of minerals and lots of
Mhm.
vitamins. I mean, obviously it would like sometimes it depends on the turkey, um, how it's raised and how it's processed for sure.
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
yeah, inject a lot of
But
salty.
organic turkey.
Yeah, if you get an organic turkey, it would be good.
Yeah.
Or you could skip and go vegetarian or vegan. So, what about tofu or things of that nature? Seitan and is it
Taipei. Tempeh.
tempeh?
Taipei.
Tempeh. That's
Taipei.
I know it
That's
wasn't Taipei. That's a location on a map. That is not it. Olivia's very close to there. She's in Shanghai right now, shooting for the
Mm,
World Archery Tournament, so that's kinda cool.
that's cool.
Although by the time the listeners hear this, she'll have been done with that and gone on to Madrid and Turkey or wherever else. Speaking of Turkey. But what about soy products or things like that? Are there any that I have heard, you can eat too much soy, although I believe the fermentation of the beans can help it, but so real good, like, actual tofu, if
Mhm.
that's your jam, is
Yeah,
good.
I mean, personally, I'm not a big fan of, like, the fermented soy bean products.
Mhm.
Just not really my jam, but
Yeah.
some people love them, and if you love them, then more power to you.
I did make a pot pie once that had, it was like sweet potato, it had regular potato, it had tofu in it, and it was pretty good, very hearty, very
Mm,
tasty, and a good way. So it was high enough in protein, but so maybe I'll pull that recipe out if I can find it or something like it. We can throw it on one of our battles. So we try to find a recipe with tofu. Listeners could send us their tofu recipes for us to try. Maybe that's what we should do. You can all try to
over
convince us that tofu is worth getting it and trying it. Because 'cause I've had some tofu in restaurants that have been amazing, but it's a lot of frying.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only way that I've really ever enjoyed tofu was when it was fried, like crispy fried, and then tossed in some sweet sauce. I'm sure that was full of sugar and sodium, and yeah.
Yeah,
So,
like the
for
General Tso's chicken, a substitute
yeah,
with tofu. Yes.
exactly. Or like it's the Thai sweet chili sauce, which is delicious, but yeah, not really healthy and definitely kind of is counterintuitive if you're trying to eat healthier by eating tofu. And personally, I have no evidence or facts to back this up, but just the fact that, I mean, soybeans are very high in estrogen and
Yes.
they can, like for men, I don't think it's a very healthy food, or for young men, old men, any men, I don't think it's like a super healthy food that they should be eating a whole lot of, because it's gonna throw off your hormones a bit if you're consuming a lot of it.
Can also do that for women as well, I've heard,
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
know that,
It's
yeah,
not, I mean, obviously, as a woman, like, you have I mean, as a man, you have
yes.
estrogen in your body also, but, like, these things are they have, I mean, as a woman, you have your cycle, and so you have more estrogen in your body at certain times of the month and less at other times of the month, and so I just think that for your body's health to, kind of, like, maintain how it likes to be, I think it's just not eating an overabundance of tofu, something that's really high in estrogen. I think it's probably just better to forego that and let your body, kind of like stay
I got you. So,
homeostasis.
be interesting because the Asians have obviously been eating it for a very long time, so the perhaps it's how it's prepared or how all of that.
Mhm.
I wonder, though, for menopausal women such as myself,
Yeah.
that I'm not producing as much estrogen, I wonder and I cannot take estrogen or, hormone replacement therapy due to my heart condition. So, I'm wondering maybe I should just eat a bunch of tofu and see about that. So, interesting
Maybe.
experiment to be looking at. So, we've talked about the food part of it and all of the things that we can eat. And certainly, like, if you want to avoid sugar, some fresh berries, delicious just as they are if you wanted like to have a dessert with some yogurt or something like that or
Or even just a snack.
just as a snack, yeah, pop them in there. Is the other thing about inflammation is, like, low stress, things of that
Mhm.
nature, right? So, like, often, there's a lot of stress around food in general, like eating, procuring. Lots of people get stressed about cooking because 'cause they're, like, so busy, is I think, moving into a state with food, and in a future episode, I wanna cover, like, a mindful eating and preparing kind of episode on how to bring mindfulness into the kitchen. But I certainly think that a lot of things also need to be kind of a thought about in that we need to kind of slow down when we're actually eating and enjoying
Mhm.
our meal to help reduce the stress that just comes around with like how to put the food in your body and to put the phone down. I'm as guilty as anyone else who in the morning I like to do my New York Times puzzles whilst enjoying breakfast or whatever, but I also realize that I scarf down food far too fast when I am not engaged with how I am consuming it.
Yeah, I'm the opposite of that. I eat very slowly generally, so I
Look
can't
at you.
relate to that. But
Well,
it
but see,
definitely.
you're doing it the way it should be done. You are mindfully sitting down and eating the meal. And I think we have kind of gotten away from that. It used to be that we'd sit around, nobody had a device, electronic. Otherwise, we would sit around a table all together as a family and eat the meal. Although, certainly
To
when the
each other.
cameras were out. What's that?
My gosh. You had to
I
talk to each
know,
other.
talking.
Must have
Yeah.
been exhausting and
Well,
infuriating.
it all depended. When we got in bickering matches amongst the siblings, my dad would smash his fist down on the table and tell us the only time we could open our mouths was to put food in it. So maybe there's a little trauma around mealtime there. What other things do you think that we could put around food that would help in inflammation? Have we covered it all, or are we missing
Um,
anything?
well, I wanted to mention my one of my favorite little anti-inflammation support practices, or like supporters or whatever. It's super simple to make. They're just these turmeric and ginger shots, and I just
Mm,
throw a bunch of like turmeric and ginger in a blender with some fresh squeezed orange and lemon juice and black pepper, and then I blend it up, and I'll just like let it pour it into a bowl so it doesn't turn my blender completely orange.
mm.
And then I'll just let it like steep for a little while to infuse all together, and then I strain out the turmeric and ginger pulp, and then
Mm,
in the morning, I like to drink that, just like a little shot of it, like 2 ounces or so,
okay.
and I it always just, like, helps feel like kind of I always drink a bunch of water in the morning
Mhm.
also, and I feel like the 2 combined, they just kind of help, like, flush everything out, and leave you
Oh,
feeling, like, ready for the day, not inflamed and puffy or bloated.
sounds like
So,
a very
yeah.
good idea. Now, fresh turmeric, I suspect, and not dried turmeric.
Yes, fresh turmeric and ginger. I know they might not be available for everybody, but I think most people would be able to find that at their grocery store or, like, health food store, like a Sprouts
Nowadays,
or
like, they are
Whole Foods.
carrying turmeric and ginger. I mean, even in our local
Yeah.
Harris Teeter.
Nice.
Yeah. So, Sprouts is pretty much at least I even know that there's a Sprouts in, like, Arizona. I think that's actually where it originated from. Anyway, there's Sprouts around. They definitely have turmeric, fresh turmeric. And so you could
Mhm.
do a batch of it and then just kinda divvy it out, and certainly cheaper than buying
Exactly.
the little turmeric shots in the little
Yeah,
plastic.
those things are so expensive. They're like $3 for 1 serving. It's crazy. Whereas you could spend, $20 on the ingredients for this and get over 20 servings. So, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
and I bet you could put it in ice cube trays and, like, freeze it and then have, like,
yeah,
2 ice cube trays of worth and then take them out and
yeah,
just thaw them out.
exactly. And if
Yeah.
you don't like the flavor because it can be kind of spicy or, like, a little
Mhm.
bit oppressive, you could, if you freeze them, you could throw them in a smoothie or something like that.
Oh, yeah, right. And I always put the turmeric and ginger into a smoothie. I like that, and a whole lemon. I usually throw the whole lemon in there. It's actually very good.
Skin and all in the seeds? What?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
It chops up the seeds and all of that stuff, all that fiber in there, and I believe there's
Mm.
something really good about the lemon peel. So, I think we have fully covered inflammation and all of the things and ways to combat it in the realm of using food as medicine.
Do we have any books that we can recommend to help the people support their anti-inflammation journey?
Hmm, good question. Actually, no. Can't
Any
think of
book.
one.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
certain that there are a boatload of books out there, potentially.
Yep.
But listeners, do tell about, what you have for recommendations. That would be a good
Yes,
idea.
please share any research medical books or cookbooks, self-helpy books, or if you have any practices that like little simple life hacks or tricks that you like to do to reduce inflammation in your body, please let us know. We'd love to hear them.
Alright,
And
so now
now it's
we have a
time for a
food
kitchen
battle.
battle.
Yes, it is time for a kitchen battle. What are we battling on today? We'll see you in the kitchen.
See you in the kitchen.
For this week's challenge, which was raspberries, we have raspberry cheesecake oatmeal bars that Lauren sent me. First, you want to make the raspberry filling, and that is very simple to make, and you can do that way ahead. So, get those raspberries and sugar into a pan. Get that stirring a little bit at the beginning as it's heating so you don't end up with some caramelized spots with the sugar in the pan. And then you're going to let that cook. Do watch that pot because it has a tendency to boil over whenever you're doing anything like this, especially if the pot's too small. Give it a stir so it doesn't burn on the bottom. And then once it's thick enough to drop off the back of the spoon, you're all set and you can let that cool and rest. The next thing we want to do is we're going to make the rest of the bars. And so first you need to make kind of a cookie crust. And then after that, we make the cheesecake filling. So you're going to pop that sugar and butter into a pan or into a mixer. And the KitchenAid mixer is what I use. And get that going until it's really light and fluffy. That's going to really help. Then I'm going to spread that out into my pan that's lined with parchment. Pop that into the oven to cook. While that was cooking, I made my filling for the bars, and that is taking the cream cheese, putting it in a pan, whipping it until it's really smooth, and then adding the eggs. Once my base, the cookie base, was all done, I took that out of the oven and I poured that filling over top of it. Then I topped it with the raspberry filling that I had made earlier. And then you're going to return that to the oven to finish baking for about 30 or so minutes. Man, did it smell good. And then you want to let those rest until they're cool before you cut them and enjoy. These were so easy to make. I highly recommend. I really enjoyed this recipe. It was easy to put together. These are things you can make in different stages, and so a wonderful little snack or dessert with a cup of tea or even some iced tea. Great job, Lauren. I hope you all give it a try. Thanks.
Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen. This week I'm going to be making my mom's raspberry arugula salad with goat cheese. And this recipe is super simple and easy to put together, so there's no excuses for not trying this one this week. I first got started making my mom's recipe by making the dressing, and this is really the only thing in this salad that has to be mixed together, and it's super simple. All you have to do is mix yogurt, lime zest, lime juice, maple syrup, and chia seeds together, and bada bing, you're done. Then you can toss your arugula, slivered almonds into a bowl with some of the dressing, and then you can top your salad with your raspberries and goat cheese. You don't want to toss your raspberries in the salad because they're so delicate that they'll get all mushy and gross. So just putting them on top is fine. And I personally really love this recipe. I think it's super bright and summery, and I love everything in it. Goat cheese is one of my favorite cheeses, so I really, really enjoyed this salad. And I hope you guys give it a try and let us know what you think and whose recipe you liked better this week. So happy cooking, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Well, this episode is fully baked. Remember, don't stress over perfection.
Cooking in life can be messy, but that's where the magic happens. Inspiration can come from even the worst of kitchen mess-ups.
Yeah, like how the chocolate chip cookie was born.
And the potato chip. Sometimes you gotta get messy to get clean.
Thanks for joining us in the kitchen. Subscribe so you don't miss the next food fight episode.
You can follow us on Instagram at 2Cooks Podcast. That's the number 2 Cooks Podcast, and share your favorite food recipes or try any of our delicious recipes. This is Too Many Cooks in the Kitchen, where better food and better health always start in the kitchen. And Mom, don't forget to check the stove. That might be how dinner got burned.
Thanks for listening. See you next time. Gotta run and check that stove.
Bye. Happy cooking.